Chapter 61. The little girls swear to defend their master to the death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone still looked at Ye Chen with contempt and hatred, even murderous intent, but when he slapped Elder Lei into oblivion, their expressions twisted into something complicated. Disdain turned to shock, then horror, and finally disbelief, a lightning-fast shift. No one could process what they'd just witnessed, the almighty Elder Lei, gone with a single slap. Their brains felt like they'd been filled with lead, bang, starred at a weapon clattered to the ground, the sharp sound snapping everyone back to reality. He killed Elder Lei. Wasn't Elder Lei supposed to be basically unkillable, being in the immortal realm and all? How could he just die like that? Am I seeing things? This can't be real, no way. Is he insane? He's out of his mind. Killing Elder Lei. That's an elder of the Ziwei Holy Land, a big shot. He's asking for the entire Holy Land to come down on him. Finally, they exploded in shouts of fear, shock, and disbelief. To them, a Holy Land elder was already an untouchable figure. Elder Lei, an immortal level master, was an inner sect elder in the Ziwei Holy Land. They all dreamed of getting on his good side. And now, this elusive VIP had been smacked down in front of their very eyes. It was too much to comprehend. Unlike the others' shock, the Changhe sect master, the Golden Dragon Palace master, and the Dragon Elephant sect Grand Elder were now consumed by terror. They were roughly on par with Elder Lei in terms of power. A fight between them would be a long, drawn-out affair, but this young man had casually wiped out Elder Lei with a single slap. What did that imply? Could he just as easily wipe them out? The thought sent shivers down their spines. No matter how they played it out in their heads, no matter what strategies they concocted, they couldn't see any way to block that last attack. I can feel the power, that the Changhe sect master paled, even though Ye Chen wasn't targeting him. Even from that distance, he was petrified. If I tried to stand against that, I'd be dead meat. That the Huangxian sect Grand Elder was terrified. The raw force was staggering, seemingly effortless but packing enough punch to level mountains. This guy is insanely strong. Beyond comprehension. I don't stand a chance. That the Golden Dragon Palace master was slightly better at hiding his fear, appearing more composed. But his pale face and subtle retreat gave him away, just like everyone else. They had been eyeing the holy fruit tree on Ye Chen, they were waiting for the right moment to jump into the fray. But that one slap had been a rude awakening. You can't just grab treasure without considering the consequences. When someone can slap you into the next life, what's the point? The two girls, Zixing and Ziyu, were dumbstruck, their wide eyes filled with shock and joy. They had suffered so much torture at the hands of Elder Lei that, in their minds, he was invincible. And yet, their master had casually erased him. A wave of elation surged through their little hearts. He's gone. He's finally gone. That monster is dead. Yes, Zixing was ecstatic, pumping her fist in the air like it was Christmas morning. Ziyu burst into tears. Her master had avenged her, and the nightmare was finally over. Sister, we got our revenge. Ziyu squeezed Zixing's hand, overflowing with joy. Yeah, thanks to Master. Our master is so awesome. Zixing wiped her tears and gazed up at her master's imposing figure, feeling safe for the first time in a long time. They had lucked out, finding a powerful and kind master who had not only rescued them from hell but had also helped them settle the score. And on top of that, their master was this powerful. Unbelievable. Lei Ting was in shock. She watched her grandfather die right in front of her, and it broke something inside her. No matter how much trouble she caused, Grandpa had always cleaned up her mess. If she wanted a rare treasure, he'd get it for her, even if it meant murder. Once, she saw a sword she liked, so she demanded Grandpa take it. When the owner refused, Grandpa killed him without hesitation and gave her the sword. In her mind, Grandpa was all-powerful and invincible. How could he just die like that? Especially not in front of her, with a single slap. Lei Ting glared at Ye Chen, her eyes filled with hatred. She pointed and shrieked, "You bastard! You killed my grandfather. I'm going to kill you. You'll die a horrible death." Her outburst scared the other disciples and elders of the Ziwei Holy Land. They instinctively recoiled. This woman had clearly been spoiled rotten by Elder Lei. If Ye Chen could kill Elder Lei so easily, he could easily kill her too. If Ye Chen cared about the Ziwei Holy Land, he wouldn't have killed Elder Lei in the first place. The other Ziwei Holy Land disciples silently cursed Lei Ting. This idiot was going to drag them all down. Ye Chen initially wanted to vaporize the girl with a single glance but then realized it would be a good training opportunity for Zixing and Ziyu. He turned to the girls and said softly, "Zixing, Ziyu, she's disrespecting your master. Would you be willing to silence her to defend my honor?" The girls were furious that Lei Ting had insulted their master, but they were surprised that he wanted them to act. They were only in the foundation building stage, while Lei Ting was already in the nascent soul stage. Could they even win? But after a moment's hesitation, they nodded firmly and declared in unison, "Disciples will defend Master to the death." They had already died once. This life was a gift from their master. Even if they died fighting Lei Ting, they wouldn't regret it. "Good. You're good disciples. Go get her." Ye Chen smiled. He had been worried they lacked courage, but he was wrong. "How dare you insult our master? We'll rip that foul mouth right off your face." The girls stepped forward together, their voices ringing out in perfect unison. Their expressions were cold, and the power of their holy light body and immortal spirit body exploded forth for the first time. Chapter 62: The Pressure That Envelopes the World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Two seriously intense vibes just exploded from them. My sister, Zixing, radiates this pure, white fairy light from her, thanks to her fairy spirit body. It's like looking at perfection itself, flawless and practically immortal. Normally, you'd only see something like that in someone who's, like, a real immortal. She's only at the 5th level of foundation establishment. There's no way she should be glowing with immortal energy, right? But that's what makes a fairy spirit body special. It's born with a natural connection to immortality. This kid's destined for the big leagues. Of course, Ye Chen isn't aiming for just immortal for his students. Honestly, in Kunlun Holy Land, being a true immortal only gets you a job as an outer sect elder. His disciples are going to be immortal emperors, period. Ziyue, my other sister, has a holy light body, and she's unleashing golden holy light. Unlike Zixing's soft, dreamy glow, this holy light is super assertive, fiery, and ready to rumble. Talk about raw talent. Any holy land would snatch these two up as core disciples. They might even hide them away and give them special training right now. Old man Lei was onto something. If he could have stuffed those two physiques into Lei Ting, he could have built himself a world-class genius. Everyone was floored by Zixing and Ziyu, showing off skills like that at such a young stage. Lei Ting, seeing them all powerful and looking ready to tear her apart, just felt more pissed and jealous. In her head, those physiques were hers to begin with. Now, Zixing and Ziyu have stolen her natural gifts. You think being young protects you? I'll end you. You can't even imagine the things you'll never get to have. Lei Ting's eyes went bloodshot. She wanted to kill them both, like, yesterday. They were not going to get away with her power. Boom! She unleashed a crazy nascent soul-level aura. Okay, so Lei Ting wasn't exactly talented, but she was way higher level than those two girls. Zixing and Ziyu were immediately on the defensive, but they were quick learners. After a few moves, they got a feel for the fight, and started working together like pros. Using the unique powers of their holy light body and fairy spirit body, they trashed Lei Ting in under 100 moves. Seeing Lei Ting cough up blood and hit the dirt, Ye Chen showed zero mercy. Finish her, he told the girls, cold as ice. This world is rough. Sometimes, killing is the only way to protect yourself. Just because they're 13 doesn't mean they get to live in bubble wrap and never see blood. Raise them like that, and you get scared, weak, save the puppies types. What's gotta be done, gotta be done. Zi Xing bit her lip, looking awkward. This was her first time taking a life, but then she remembered how Lei Ting almost offed her and her sisters. Suddenly, she felt a surge of killer instinct and thinking about that witch trash-talking master. Nope, she's gone. Ziyue, being the holy light body sister, was all about decisiveness and power. As soon as Ye Chen gave the word, she ran Lei Ting through with her sword. Zi Xing jumped in to finish the job. Nobody was about to argue. Good job. I'll make it worth your while back at the Master's Council, Ye Chen said, ruffling their hair, clearly pleased. Then, he scanned the crowd. Anybody else got a problem? Last chance to speak up. Everyone looked around, freaked out, then totally helpless. Who's going to mess with him? Are you trying to die? The heads of Golden Dragon Palace, Changhe sect, and Longxiang sect were shaking like maracas. Senior is joking. How could we ever stand in your way? Totally. It's an honor to watch you work, Senior. Have a good trip, Senior. Swing by Changhe sect sometime. I'll roll out the red carpet. These guys are usually all high and mighty in their own little worlds, but in front of Ye Chen, they were crawling and brown-nosing like their lives depended on it. Ye Chen ignored them, turning his gaze to the Ziwei Holy Land crew. Those guys were frozen solid, terrified he'd just wiped them all out. Turns out, being from Ziwei Holy Land didn't make them feel safe at all. It just meant they could get killed for being in the wrong place. One brave disciple stepped up. Senior, we were just here to watch. We had nothing to do with Elder Lei, Old Man Lei. Yeah. We don't even know him. Old Man Lei deserved it. His granddaughter, too. We couldn't stand them. Senior, you're doing the world a favor. Those fancy Ziwei Holy Land members were pulling out all the stops to save their skins. Ye Chen wasn't even listening. Anyway, he got his apprentices, and the alchemists were invited. Time to head back to the sect. But just as he was about to leave, some seriously intense energy came blasting in, too fast to even track. This person was packing some serious heat. I am Elder Zhou of Ziwei Holy Land. Who killed my people? I want blood. The boom shook the sky. It was Elder Zhou himself. Before, Elder Lei had crushed a contact jade, letting Elder Zhou know the situation and begging for backup. Before Elder Zhou arrived, he felt Lei's aura vanish completely. That meant trouble. He saw Zi Xing and Ziyu take Lei Ting down, and he lost it. He cranked up the speed and came looking for revenge. Nobody messes with Ziwei Holy Land in central China and gets away with it. Elder Zhou's voice echoed around, making everyone's head spin. Everyone looked up to see Elder Zhou high in the sky. Word was that Elder Zhou was even stronger than Elder Lei. Could he turn the tables? Just then, bam! A giant energy palm appeared and swatted Elder Zhou like a fly. Loudmouth. Annoying, Ye Chen grumbled to himself. You take out the weak, and then the strong ones show up, right? You gotta keep coming, one by one. Guess he'd just have to smack the world into silence. After casually taking care of Elder Zhou, Ye Chen, Zi Xing, and Ziyu vanished, leaving everyone speechless. Chapter 63. Is this a holy land? This is a fairyland. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at the chaotic scene and those massive palm prints in the dirt, everyone was speechless. Were the two elders of Ziwei Holy Land really gone? Vaporized without even putting up a fight? Elder Lei at least got in a few licks before being erased. But Elder Zhou? He uttered one syllable and poof. Dude probably didn't even know what hit him. The whole thing felt like a bad dream. They'd all come expecting a show, a front row seat to Elder Lei's physique transplant. Then, out of nowhere, this white-clad kid shows up. He doesn't just wreck the program, he plucks the sacred fruit and snatches the whole damn tree. And to top it off, Elder Lei and Elder Zhou are mulch, two Ziwei Holy Land elders iced at once in central China. Ziwei's gonna lose their minds. Central China's about to get real interesting. the lucky survivors were shaken to their cores. At least the guy had some sense. He only offed Lei and Zhou, he didn't wipe everyone out. Come to think of it, that kid in white ain't so bad. This whole thing has nothing to do with Golden Dragon Palace. If I hear anyone trying to pin this on us, they'll regret it, that the Golden Dragon Palace leader gave everyone a death stare before hauling ass out of there. The Changhe and Longxiang sect folks did the same, not wanting to stick around any longer than necessary. Back at their respective sects, they immediately locked down the gates. No one in, no one out, period. Things are about to change in central China, someone muttered, worried sick, others shrugged it off. They were just spectators, after all. If Ziwei Holy Land wanted answers, it wasn't their problem. As the crowd dispersed, a violent tremor ripped through the deepest part of Yuanshu Holy Mountain. The 10 peaks shook like an earthquake was imminent. Who dared to steal the sacred fruit tree? Damn them all. When I'm fully recovered, they'll all pay. A voice laced with unimaginable power echoed from Yuanshu Divine Mountain, sending boulders tumbling down the slopes. Then, waves of thick, gray mist erupted from the mountain's heart, surging outward like a tidal wave. This sinister fog blanketed the surrounding area. Monks who frequented Yuanshu Holy Mountain for practice and meditation were horrified to discover that the fog was an aura of pure malevolence, an aura of such terrifying intensity. Usually confined to the deepest, darkest corners. Why was it now spreading across the land? Many tried to flee, but the fog's power was overwhelming. Countless low-level cultivators perished. Those strong enough to escape were at least at the void refining stage. Yuanshu Holy Mountain, once a towering beacon, was now shrouded in an ominous haze. From that day forward, the mountain's boundaries expanded threefold. No living being dared to enter the fog-choked zone. Unbeknownst to anyone, this all stemmed from Ye Chen's theft of the sacred fruit tree, forcing the ancient being slumbering within the mountain to unleash the grey mist as a barrier. Back in the sky, Ye Chen had brought back 4 Immortal Lord-level alchemists, along with 3,000 alchemists of varying skill levels. Is this what it's like to ride the clouds? It's amazing, like bouncing on cotton candy. Zixing gazed at the swirling clouds below, jumping up and down with excitement. Sis, do you think they actually taste like cotton candy? Ziyue, ever the curious one, bit into a cloud, but it vanished instantly, leaving no taste. Ew, gross. Not yummy at all. Ziyue scowled. The innocent antics of the 2 girls brought smiles to everyone's faces, momentarily washing away the resentment they felt about being captured and imprisoned by Ye Chen. However, after witnessing Ye Chen's actions at Yuanshu Holy Mountain, much of their anger had already dissipated. Especially after watching elders Lei and Zhou get smacked into oblivion. It gave them a sense of satisfaction. Immortal Lord Huangxian and the other Immortal Lords exchanged glances, realizing that Divine Pill Holy Land might not be the worst place to be. At least Ziwei Holy Land had joined the party. As long as their lives were spared, everything was fine. Soon, a sprawling mountain range came into view, several peaks towering into the heavens with majestic splendor. We're here. This is our Kunlun Holy Land. Ye Chen said. The others looked down, confused. Something felt off. It seemed like an ordinary mountain range. Could a powerful holy land really be hidden here? Girls, you'll get to meet your senior brothers and sisters soon. Ye Chen smiled, patting their heads. Hearing that they'd be meeting their fellow disciples, their eyes lit up. Their master was incredibly strong. How powerful must their senior brothers and sisters be? Finally, a sect that felt like home, they landed at the foot of a mountain, before a massive mountain gate. The plaque above was engraved with the characters Kunlun Holy Land. There seemed to be a faint Taoist rhyme emanating from it, adding an air of mystery. All 4 Immortal Lords felt it. Surprise flickered in their eyes. Even Divine Pill Holy Land's gate didn't possess such profound Taoist energy, nor had they observed it in the holy places they visited. Kunlun Holy Land was unique. Could it be that this unheard-of Kunlun Holy Land was secretly a powerful hidden force? Filled with surprise and confusion, they followed Ye Chen through the gate. The moment they crossed the threshold, they felt as though they'd entered another world. An incredibly rich concentration of spiritual energy surged into their bodies. They didn't need to cultivate at all. The spiritual and immortal energy were continuously strengthening their muscles. If the outside world was the mortal realm, this was the fairy realm. This was beyond comparison. The spiritual energy here is insane. It's so abundant. I've never seen a cultivation environment like this. Even sleeping here for a day would be equal to half a year of hard training outside. I'm losing it. What is this place? Is it even real? Someone pinch me. I need to know if I'm dreaming. We're going to live and cultivate here. That's awesome, that the 3,000 alchemists went wild, bubbling with excitement. Many were so overwhelmed that they burst into tears, unable to find words. Chapter 64 The Holy Master is only worthy of sweeping the floor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Ye Chen caught them, they were done for. Their lives looked completely bleak. They figured they'd become tools for this Kunlun Holy Land, spending their days in torture and despair. The fact that Ye Chen even picked these 3,000 alchemists showed they had serious talent. Normally, killing it at the alchemist conference would have landed them a sweet gig at the Divine Holy Land, but Ye Chen straight up kidnapped them. Of course they were pissed, too bad they were too weak to fight back. They didn't even dare to speak up. Then they arrived at Kunlun Holy Land and took their first breath, and they were all floored. Just totally confused. Lush trees, flowers, plants, and every kind of natural treasure were everywhere. Spirit animals were running around, playing like they owned the place. The air practically vibrated with spiritual energy. Floating islands dotted the sky. This place was paradise. Nothing like the dark hell they imagined. This is way richer in spiritual energy than even the Divine Holy Land. Honestly, I'd rather live and train here. Talk about a blessing in disguise, huh? Maybe leaving the Divine Holy Land wasn't a disaster, but an opportunity. This place is awesome. I think Kunlun Holy Land is even better than Divine Holy Land. Give me a year here, and I guarantee I'll break through. That these alchemists were losing their minds. They realized Ye Chen hadn't screwed them over, but saved them. Sure, Divine Holy Land was great, but this place. Next level. In their excitement, they noticed 4 alchemy masters from the Divine Holy Land standing right there. Maybe saying Divine Holy Land wasn't as good wasn't the best move. Even if it was true, Huangxian Immortal Lord and the others were speechless. No one wants to hear their holy land isn't good enough. They came from there, they knew how powerful it was. But they couldn't deny it. The spiritual energy here was several times, maybe even 10 times stronger. How insane was that? This was a holy land, a top power in the desolate immortal world, blessed in every way. It should have the best spiritual energy, right? But Kunlun Holy Land was just crushing it. If they hadn't seen it themselves, they wouldn't have believed it, so they couldn't argue. Huangxian Immortal Lord pretended not to care. He said calmly, so what if the spiritual energy is strong? You're alchemists. You're going to be the best. I doubt Kunlun Holy Land's alchemy skills can compete with Divine Holy Land. That shut everyone up. As alchemists, their craft was everything, and when it came to alchemy, Divine Holy Land was the best in the desolate immortal world. That was just a fact, no one could argue with that. So what if the spiritual energy was great? If they couldn't get the resources to refine medicine, they'd still think Divine Holy Land was better. Still, the alchemists had definitely lost some respect for the Divine Holy Land. With spiritual energy this strong, could they really be worried about cultivating materials for alchemy? Everyone followed the stairs up to the Zhongmen Square. Xiaoye was all alone, sweeping the floor. Ye Chen hadn't been gone long, but she was his maid, and couldn't slack off. She had to do what she had to do. The White Dragon Immortal King told her to sweep the square so she could be ready to serve the sect leader when he returned. Xiaoye, a noble holy land owner, had never swept a floor in her life. At Luoyue Holy Land, that was work for the lowest disciples. Was she a handyman now? Normally, she'd throw a fit, but after seeing the enlightenment tea tree and even tasting Ye Chen's leftover tea, she was getting used to being a maid. It's just sweeping. No one would see her. No big deal. Just as she was comforting herself, Ye Chen showed up with thousands of people. Xiaoya stood there with her broom, staring in confusion. Suddenly, everyone was staring at her. Xiaoya instinctively wanted to hide. If anyone found out the Holy Lord of Luoyue Holy Land was sweeping the square, she'd be so embarrassed. Sect master. Xiaoya saluted Ye Chen guiltily. Ye Chen nodded and introduced his new disciples. Zixing, Ziyu, this is my maid, Xiaoya. Zixing and Ziyu looked at Xiaoya, and their eyes lit up. What a pretty lady. Hi, Sister Xiaoya. You're so pretty. Zixing said honestly. Ziyu nodded enthusiastically. Yeah. I've never seen anyone as beautiful as Sister Xiaoya. Xiaoya smiled, flattered. The sect leader was aloof, but his disciples were sweet. Pretty and sister coming from both sides. Xiaoya was loving it. The 3,000 alchemists behind them were shocked by Xiaoya's looks. She was stunning. Even as a maid, she was gorgeous. A lot of those so-called fairies and saints couldn't hold a candle to her. Plus, Xiaoya had this natural grace. She only looked like an ordinary maid when she was around the sect master. Such a beautiful woman was just his maid. Kunlun Holy Land was living large. Only the 4 immortal kings from the divine pill Holy Land looked at each other, confused. Had they mistaken her for someone else? Why did this maid look exactly like the Holy Master of Luoyue Holy Land? The looks, the figure, the vibe, even the cultivation. All identical. Was that actually Holy Lord Luoyue? They were too embarrassed to ask. What if it wasn't? The majestic Lord of the Holy Land couldn't be sweeping here. Finally, Hongxian Immortal Lord couldn't take it anymore. Xiaoya. Aren't you the Lord of Luoyue Holy Land? Why are you sweeping the floor? Xiaoya, who had finally relaxed, froze when she heard someone blow her cover. She panicked. Oh, had she been spotted? Chapter 65 Discipleship Gift Package. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiaoya was freaking out. She was getting used to how gorgeous the maid was, but that didn't mean she wanted to be recognized. Hearing someone call her out, her first instinct was to deny it, maybe even snap at him, like, who asked you, she thought. Keep it zipped. Before she could figure out what to say, Ye Chen just smiled and said, that's old news. Xiaoya's my maid now. That was it. He'd confirmed it. Immortal Lord Hongxian and the others exchanged shocked glances. Was it true? But why would the Holy Lord of Luoyue Holy Land be working as a maid? They had a feeling it had something to do with their situation. No way would the Holy Lord volunteer for that kind of gig. Thinking that, the immortal kings from Divine Pill Holy Land felt a whole lot better, so other holy lands have been through this too, huh? Misery loves company, star. Wait, Xiaoya the maid is actually the Holy Master of Luoyue Holy Land. Someone exclaimed. No wonder she's so beautiful. Xiaoya's got some serious pedigree. A Holy Lord playing maid? That's insane. Totally unbelievable. Our sect leader's so powerful, he can even get a Holy Land leader to work for him. People were buzzing, totally surprised. Most of them had never been to Dongxing Continent or Luoyue Holy Land, but they knew how important a Holy Lord was. Was Kunlun Holy Land really so amazing that someone like that would end up as a maid? Suddenly, everyone felt a lot less inadequate. A lot of people were now mentally reclassifying themselves as members of Kunlun Holy Land. Seeing she'd been made, Xiaoya sighed. She looked at Ye Chen, then at the 4 immortal lords from Divine Pill Holy Land, and she was floored. Aren't you guys Senior Immortal Lord Hongxian, Senior Immortal Lord Jingyu, Immortal Lord Qingshui, and Immortal Lord Yanlei? That she recognized them immediately. As the Holy Master of Luoyue Holy Land, she was always in contact with other holy lands. And Divine Pill Holy Land was the most connected, most popular place around. Luoyue Holy Land dealt with them all the time. She'd met these guys before, and she knew they were strong, like Immortal Lord level strong. Even better, they were amazing alchemists, 7th and 8th level masters. Any one of them could get VIP treatment anywhere. That's how important an alchemy master was. So what were they doing here? Xiaoye was completely baffled. Seniors, did you come to Kunlun Holy Land on business? She asked, all innocent. Hongxian Immortal Lord and the others got super awkward. Xiaoye's eyes widened. They were in the same boat. They'd been shanghaied by the sect leader, right? That cold-blooded leader. He'd actually snagged Immortal Lords. Now it made sense why he'd asked her where to find the best medicine people in the wild immortal world. He was planning a heist. Feeling much better now. If he could kidnap 4 Immortal Lord level alchemists, her being a Holy Lord wasn't so weird anymore. It's a long story, Hongxian Immortal Lord said with a strained smile. Xiaoye waved it off. No worries, no worries. We've all been there. But while they were talking, some of Ye Chen's disciples showed up. Master. I've learned a new secret technique and want to test it out on you. Whoa, these 2 little sisters are cute. Are they your daughters, Master? Mu Yen and the others had come over, curious and excited to see so many people. Finally, Kunlun Holy Land was getting some action. For such a huge sect, it was pretty quiet with just them. Hold up. Jingyu, look at these guys. There's something else. Immortal Lord Hongxian gasped, seeing the talent radiating off Mu Yen, Guing Luo, and Su Jian. Immortal Lord Jingyu had already noticed, and he looked serious. One is burning hot, like a terrifying flame is trapped inside him. Another's got this ethereal vibe, a natural connection to the Tao, super mysterious. And the last one is razor sharp, like a sword ready to cut the world in two. These aren't average Joes. They're super geniuses. The 4 were blown away by the talents of Mu Yen and the others. Any holy land would kill for this kind of potential. And there were 3 of them, all in one place. What was Kunlun Holy Land even? It was terrifying. When these kids grew up, the sky was the limit. They'd be legends in the desolate immortal world, no doubt. Ye Chen nodded at his disciples. These 2 are your new junior sisters. Get to know them. Li Yao, you and Xiaoye can show them around, get them settled in. If you can get them working the furnace right away, even better. Li Yao, who was standing in the back, stepped forward nervously. He could feel the power rolling off these new people, way stronger than his own void refining realm. Especially the 4 up front. He could barely look at them. Where was the sect master finding these powerhouses? Yes, sect master. Li Yao and Xiao Yu led the way, while Ye Chen took his disciples back to the main hall. Back inside, Mu Yen and the others were checking out Zixing and Ziyu, making the girls self-conscious. They hid behind Ye Chen, but they knew that these were their senior brother and sister, and they didn't mean any harm. Seeing them so shy, Ye Chen chuckled. Don't be scared. This is your senior brother Mu Yen, your second senior sister Guing Luo, and your third senior brother Su Jian. If you have any questions about training, ask them. Mu Yen, Ying Luo, Su Jian, these are your junior sisters. This is Zixing, and this is Ziyu. Be nice to them. Ye Chen warned. Mu Yen and the others smiled and nodded. We finally have junior sisters. They look just alike. Are they twins? Mu Yen asked, surprised. Zixing said timidly, yeah, I'm the older sister, and she's Ziyu. After a quick intro, the 2 girls relaxed and weren't as nervous, especially around Guing Luo. They'd gotten a lot stronger lately and wanted to show off for Ye Chen, but one look from Ye Chen reminded them who was boss, so they went back to training. Ying Luo was in charge of taking care of Zixing and Ziyu. After Ye Chen sent the disciples off, he started checking out his new disciple gift package. Chapter 66. Open the treasure box. 2 extra bonuses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After taking Zi Xing and Zi Yu under his wing, Ye Chen scored 2 sweet gift packages. Let's pop the first one. Ye Chen dove into his system space and ripped open the first apprenticeship package. Jackpot, 50 Immortal class battleships. Jackpot, 2 Immortal King summoning cards. Jackpot, 5,000-foot spirit stone veins. Jackpot, 1,000 tons of yin-yang treasure liquid. Jackpot, Immortal Holy Body, Emperor level potential. Ye Chen was pretty stoked with the first package, 50 Immortal class warships. Perfect for when the Kunlun Holy Land disciples want to go exploring. The 2 Immortal King summoning cards were a no-brainer win. The spirit stone veins would fatten up the Kunlun Holy Land's coffers. Plus, once mined, those stones would fuel the disciples' training, yin-yang treasure liquid. Rare stuff, even the big Holy Lands hoarded it like gold, but he just scored 1,000 tons, enough to practically bathe in. And the Immortal Holy Body would give Zi Xing a major upgrade. After all, as Ye Chen's direct disciple, sticking with immortal level potential just wouldn't cut it. Everyone needed to go Emperor level. Alright, let's crack open the second one. Ye Chen was feeling pretty good. Jackpot, 2 Immortal King summoning cards. Jackpot, a forging pavilion. Jackpot, endless light body, Emperor level potential. Jackpot, 20 mines each of 9 aperture sacred stone, sun stone, holy spirit stone, sky crystal stone, and black jade. These rewards hit the spot. The different ore resources were key to the sect's construction and growth. The forging pavilion was the spot for crafting magic weapons, and it was already decked out with top-notch gear. All that was missing were the people. The endless light body, with emperor-level potential, would supercharge Ziyue's holy light body. Her future was looking brighter than ever. With those 2 packages, the sect's resources and legacy had gotten a serious boost. Ding! System alert. Because the host has accepted twin sisters as disciples, a bonus super gift package will be awarded. Check it out. Just when Ye Chen thought he was done, the system threw him another curveball. Bonus rewards for taking on twins. Does this system have a secret life? Is it suggesting I snag more twins down the line? Ye Chen was at a loss for words. The reason was kinda ridiculous, but hey, he wasn't complaining. The system was still pretty sharp. A thought struck him, and he asked with a sly grin, if I took on a mother-daughter duo, would that trigger some extra special rewards? System, feel free to experiment. Ye Chen was pumped at the response. He was just kidding. Could it be true? Mother-daughter disciples equal bonus rewards. Alright, I'm holding you to that. If there are no extra rewards down the line, you're toast. Ye Chen said, half teasing, half threatening. Alright, let's bust open this twin super gift package. System, opening gift package. Jackpot, an emperor summoning card. Only 1 reward, but it knocked Ye Chen for a loop. Seriously? An emperor summoning card. So far, the best he'd pulled was the Immortal King summoning card. His Immortal King heavy hitters included Black Dragon, White Dragon, Red Lotus, and Snow Lotus. The True Immortal summoning card was collecting dust at Kunlun Holy Land. A True Immortal was only good enough for an outer sect elder, not even close to inner sect status, but an Emperor summoning card. That was a game changer. So, I'm sitting on 4 Immortal King summoning cards and 1 Emperor summoning card. Top tier power-wise, even without me, are we the strongest Holy Land out there? And with me? Okay, now we're just being unfair. Ye Chen shook his head, laughing to himself. He never imagined the Kunlun Holy Land he founded would blow up like this. We're still running lean on talented disciples. But no rush. I'll wait until the Kunlun Holy Land is a household name before launching a recruitment drive. Ye Chen had a plan. When the moment was right, he'd reel in the best disciples, build the sect bigger, and cement Kunlun Holy Land as the top sect in every single way. His vision was crystal clear. the Kunlun Holy Land wasn't settling for just the desolate immortal Great World. Most people would never see half the places in Huangxian. It was so vast, not to mention breaking the world's barriers and bouncing around like those top-tier experts. Kunlun Holy Land was aiming for fame in every great world, shutting down the haters and becoming the one, the only, unbeatable superpower across the board. The thought made Ye Chen buzz with excitement. Just as he was about to summon his 4 immortal kings and 1 emperor, the system pinged him again. System, friendly reminder, the host has peacefully recruited multiple alchemists, boosting the sect's alchemy division. Enjoy some bonus rewards from the system. Ye Chen's eyes lit up. Another bonus reward? What was with all the extra goodies today? Had this dog system gone on a gift-giving spree after hitting the fake wine? Actually, I just use my charm to win over these alchemists to grow the ranks and beef up the sect support staff. I wasn't expecting a reward. You could have mentioned that earlier. That Ye Chen chuckled and cracked open the bonus package. Jackpot, 10,000 snow jade lotus plants. Jackpot, 10,000 phoenix grasses. Jackpot, 10,000 golden ginseng plants. Jackpot, 10,000 thunder flowers. Jackpot, 10,000 Buddha heart fruits. Jackpot, 10,000 cold spirit ghost grasses. This treasure chest was overflowing with natural treasures, 100 kinds in all. And 10,000 of each. Keep in mind, every natural treasure the system coughed up was rare. Even the Holy Lands were running low on this stuff. But Ye Chen just scored a massive haul. The Divine Pill Holy Land would probably lose it if they saw this stash. What do alchemists love more than powerful flames? These heavenly treasures, of course. Chapter 67 4 Immortal Kings and the Ghost-Faced Empress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course, now that those folks from the Divine Pill Holy Land are here at Kunlun, they're pretty much part of the family. Thinking about betraying us? Forget about whether they could even survive a flick of Ye Chen's finger. Their identities are locked into the system. If they even think about double-crossing Kunlun Holy Land, they're toast. No one can save them. Alright, all set. Time to kick back for a bit. Ye Chen stretched luxuriously, ready to head to the back mountain, lie down under the enlightenment tea tree, and catch some Z's, but first, he had to use those 4 Immortal King summoning cards and 1 Immortal Emperor summoning card. Alright, let's use these cards. He used all the cards, and soon 4 powerful figures with incredible auras walked into the main hall and knelt before Ye Chen. Your servants greet the sect master. Their voices echoed powerfully throughout the hall. These were the 4 summoned Immortal Kings. As summoned warriors, each of them was at the absolute peak of their current level. Basically, these were super powerful Immortal Kings on the verge of breaking through to Immortal Emperor. Of course, reaching Immortal Emperor wasn't easy, but here in Kunlun Holy Land, anything was possible. Li Yao, peak Immortal King, born with the best with spiritual roots. Go and take charge of the spiritual plant garden. Your cultivation will be twice as effective there. Ye Chen ordered the man in the green robe. This guy was named Ling Sr. With his natural talent for wood, this job was perfect. Ling Yao didn't argue. He immediately bowed respectfully and said, "Yes, sir." Ling Yao will head to the spiritual plant garden right away. With that, he vanished from the hall. Ye Chen looked at the other 3, then focused on one. Ling Dan, peak Immortal King, a 9th grade medicine refining master. You're the best at making pills, so you're in charge of the medicine refining pavilion. Ye Chen continued to delegate. Ling Dan nodded in agreement and disappeared. He then looked at another and ordered, "Ling Kong, you're good at keeping things in order, so you'll be responsible for managing the affairs of the sect from now on. You'll be the deputy sect leader." Ling Kong, now the deputy sect leader, also bowed his thanks and disappeared to take care of sect business. "And you, Ling Shui. You're a master of formations, restraints, and talismans. We don't have a dedicated branch for that yet, so you'll be an elder of the inner sect and help manage the sect." Ye Chen addressed the last Immortal King. She was a female Immortal King with incredible power and stunning looks. Her figure was mesmerizing, her collarbones framing soft, white skin, Ling Shui was a master of formations and talismans. He'd assign her specific tasks. Once those branches were established, she accepted the order dutifully, though she lingered a moment, her eyes fixed on Ye Chen, who knew what she was thinking. After making all the arrangements, Ye Chen waited for the arrival of the final Immortal Emperor. Soon after, the atmosphere shifted, and the unique power of an Immortal Emperor descended. A beautiful figure materialized. Ye Chen's eyes locked onto a pair of jade-like feet hanging in the air. They were so pale, they practically glowed. Each toe was like a tiny work of art, delicate and perfect. Above her ankles, a thin, red string held two small bells. With every slight movement, they made a crisp, sweet sound. She wore a purple and black dress cinched at the waist with a thin red belt, accentuating her slender figure and emphasizing the curve of her hips. At the top, a pair of soft, white mounds swayed with every movement. The long dress concealed much, but it couldn't hide the impressive size of her chest, definitely more than a handful each. She slowly removed the terrifying ghost mask covering her face, revealing a breathtakingly beautiful face. But in contrast to her beauty was an extreme coldness in her eyes, as if she felt nothing. Only when she looked at Ye Chen did her eyes light up. The ghost-faced Empress is at the peak of the Immortal Emperor level, practically the strongest Immortal Emperor there is. Ye Chen looked at the ghost-faced Empress with satisfaction. I greet the sect master. A slightly cold but gentle voice came from the ghost-faced Empress. Her tone was melodious and sweet. Ghost-faced Empress is a cool name, but you need a real one. How about you take my last name? From today on, you'll be Ye Shuang'er. She was cold to everyone else but kind to him. Frost suited her. The ghost-faced Empress was stunned for a moment, but finally, a hint of surprise flickered in her eyes. Thank you for the name, sect master. From now on, I'll be Ye Shuang'er, ghost-faced Empress Ye Shuang'er. You can go now. I'll call if I need you. Ye Chen waved his hand. Ye Shuang'er was reluctant to leave, but since the sect leader ordered it, she had no choice but to put on the scary ghost mask to hide her stunning face and retreat. Okay, the sect's even stronger now. Time for some more chaos. Ye Chen stretched contentedly. At that moment, the system chimed in, host, in 3 months, there will be a secret trial in the Liangyi realm of Dongxing continent. Please lead your disciples to the trial to broaden their horizons. Receiving another mission, Ye Chen yawned and mumbled, 3 months. That's a ways off. Let me get some sleep first. He left the main hall and went back to relax under the enlightenment tea tree. Deputy sect leader Ling Kong was handling sect affairs, so he didn't need to worry about a thing. Li Yao and Xiao Yu, meanwhile, were guiding the alchemists from the Divine Pill Holy Land to places like the Alchemy Pavilion and the Spiritual Plant Garden, helping them get acquainted. Of course, they were now part of the Kunlun Holy Land and had been branded by the system. There was no running away. He'd also just learned that the new maid was actually the Lord of Luoyue Holy Land. That scared him stiff. He'd been just a Mahayana stage cultivator, not even at the tribulation stage, far from being a true immortal. To him, a Holy Land Lord was a big deal. Even with his Mahayana strength and impressive alchemy skills, he couldn't even get his foot in the door at Luoyue Holy Land, let alone meet the Holy Lord in person. But now, he'd not only seen her, but he'd also witnessed her working as a maid for his sect master. Li Yao was so terrified he was sweating bullets. Sect master, you're something else. You bagged the Holy Lord. Chapter 68. Li Yao was shocked. They were all industry leaders. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Along the way, Li Yao kept his voice down. Xiaoya, getting into her maid role, was only a little haughty and didn't look down on Li Yao. She was mostly curious about why Hongmeng Immortal Lord and the others were here. How'd the sect leader get so many people to come? She wondered. Immortal Lord Hongmeng, the sect leader must have paid a fortune to get you here, right? Hearing this, everyone, including Immortal Lord Hongmeng, had a strange look on their faces. How much did it cost? Well, they didn't pay anything. but it was true that he robbed all the Kirin amethyst flame in the Holy Land of divine pills. Of course, they couldn't admit to that. Immortal Lord Huangxian chuckled and waved his hand. It was no big deal. One thing led to another, that's all. Xiaoya nodded, now even more convinced that the sect leader had dragged Huangxian Immortal Lord and his buddies here against their will. Oh yeah, this is awesome. Li Yao shivered beside her, Huangxian Immortal Lord, he knew these guys weren't nobodies. They were powerful people. Otherwise, the sect leader wouldn't have gone to all this trouble. But he never thought one of them would be an Immortal Lord. Holy crap, an Immortal Lord, that's like top-tier royalty in the Huangxian world. Back in the Holy Land, they're the core higher-ups, the main muscle, the bedrock of power. In the past, he'd never even get close to someone like that. The sect leader is incredible. He brought back multiple Immortal Lords. And they're all alchemists. Wait, where have I heard the name Huangxian Immortal Lord before? The name rang a bell, then he remembered, the Yuhua pill. He'd practiced with it, and it was said that Huangxian Immortal Lord created it. Li Yao whipped around to face Immortal Lord Huangxian. Wait a minute, you're the legendary guy who created the Yuhua pill. They say it was the masterpiece of some legend in the Holy Land of divine pills. That recipe was the one I admired most when I started out. Li Yao was like a fan meeting his idol, stars in his eyes. Immortal Lord Huangxian was taken aback. He didn't expect to be recognized that way. Normally, he'd ignore some low-level fanboy like Li Yao, but this was the Kunlun Holy Land, and Li Yao belonged to Ye Chen, so he couldn't just blow him off. Plus, seeing these Kunlun Holy Land folks so impressed and starstruck, Immortal Lord Huangxian felt some of his bruised ego start to heal. So what if Kunlun Holy Land has a legendary past? You guys look up to me, Immortal Lord Huangxian gave a small, proud smile and nodded. The Yuhua pill was my creation. Just a little dabbling in my early days. Nothing to write home about. Hearing that, Immortal Jingyu and the others rolled their eyes. What are you bragging about? Nothing to write home about. When you finally created that pill, you were so pumped, you almost streaked through the Holy Land. Li Yao, of course, didn't know any of that, and his respect for Immortal Lord Huangxian went up another notch. This is Immortal Jingyu. Ever heard of the 7 Life Xianmen pill and the 9 Yuan Nourishing pill? He made them. Immortal Lord Huangxian was generous, knowing he had to share the spotlight a little. Hearing that, Li Yao's eyes almost popped out of his head. He stared at Immortal Jingyu, his jaw on the floor. No way. The Jingyu Immortal Lord? I've heard so much about you. Some of the elixirs you made are crazy hard to refine. I haven't even been able to master them yet. Li Yao's voice was trembling. Sect leader, how on earth did you get these giants to come here? These are legendary figures, basically the founding fathers of alchemy. Jingyu Immortal Lord puffed out his chest, raised his head, and gave a slight nod. He wasn't gonna admit it, but he was loving the worship. Ahem. Seeing that the other two had gotten their chance to flex, Immortal Lord Qingshui and Immortal Lord Yanlei, who'd been quiet, cleared their throats. Immortal Lord Huangxian, understanding, jumped in. This is Immortal Lord Qingshui, and this is Immortal Lord Yanlei. They're not big talkers, but their alchemy skills are actually better than mine and Jingyu's. They're both 8th grade alchemy immortal masters. Boom. Li Yao nearly fainted on the spot. He'd never heard of Immortal Lord Qingshui or Immortal Flame Thunder. Probably because he was just too low-level to be in the know, but the words 8th grade medicine refining immortal master hit him like a ton of bricks. Holy moly. An alchemy immortal master. An 8th grade? Li Yao's head was spinning. For an alchemist, being able to refine an elixir was the ultimate accomplishment. He was only an 8th grade alchemist, still miles away from 9th grade, forget about a 1st grade alchemy master. Seriously, if Li Yao reached 9th grade in this lifetime, he'd be ecstatic. As for a 1st grade medicine refining immortal master, he couldn't even dream of it. But now, 4 alchemy masters showed up, all ridiculously high level. The shock nearly made him pass out. Everyone else just smiled. They got it, any alchemist would be that excited seeing legends like this in the flesh. Finally recovering, Li Yao almost cried, sect leader, why didn't you tell me who these people were? I could have prepared myself, these are major bosses. How am I supposed to serve them, While he was geeking out over these 4 immortal kings, Li Yao was in awe of sect leader Ye Chen most of all. Getting these guys to come prove the sect leader was an even bigger deal. Otherwise, these famously arrogant alchemy masters wouldn't be taking orders from anyone. Excited, Li Yao led them to the medicine refining pavilion first. So, this is the medicine refining pavilion of our Kunlun Holy Land. Pretty impressive, right? He shyly gestured to the towering building when Huangxian Immortal Lord and the others looked up and saw a building even more imposing than the alchemy pavilion back in their own holy land. Their proud smiles instantly froze. Chapter 69 This configuration will defeat the Holy Land of Divine Pills. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The building loomed before them, imposing and grand. Even before getting close, it radiated an almost palpable pressure. Of course, ordinary folks would feel that way, their cultivation just wasn't up to par, that's to be expected. But these were immortal lords. Why were they feeling it? What secrets was this alchemy pavilion hiding? The 4 immortal lords, Huangxian among them, exchanged glances, a hint of surprise flickering in their eyes. Ever since they'd set foot in Kunlun Holy Land, everything had been a revelation. Was a powerful immortal king from a respectable holy land really going to act like a hick in the big city? Embarrassing. But they had to admit, Kunlun Holy Land was truly mind-blowing. Li Yao, still buzzing with excitement from meeting his idols, missed their subtle non-verbal cues. He assumed they were unimpressed with the medicine refining pavilion. Maybe our medicine refining pavilion isn't as fancy as the Divine Pill Holy Land, but I think it holds its own against other holy lands. Seniors, please, come in, Li Yao said with a smile, pouring spiritual energy into the door. The Dao patterns etched on its surface flared to life, one by one. Rumble, with a deep groan, the door swung open, a wave of heat washed over them, thick with the scent of potent medicine. The alchemists in the group were instantly invigorated, feeling like they'd come home. Once inside, they eagerly took in their surroundings. The space was vast, lined with 1,000 neatly arranged alchemy furnaces. Against the walls were wooden shelves, laden with various elixirs. The 4 alchemy masters were instantly impressed. Not bad. The number of furnaces and ingredients could be improved upon, but it's a solid foundation. Immortal Emperor Jingyu surveyed the room, a sense of relief washing over him. The Divine Pill Holy Land boasted countless alchemy furnaces. Far more than this, they also had vast stores of elixirs available for members' daily practice. Kunlun Holy Land couldn't possibly compete with that, right? Li Yao felt a pang of insecurity. The Divine Pill Holy Land sounded incredibly powerful and mysterious. Was it really that much better than Kunlun? He said a little sheepishly, our alchemy division is still getting off the ground. Right now, we only have 1,000 immortal-level alchemy furnaces. But as for ingredients, Kunlun Holy Land is overflowing with them. The spiritual plant garden is full of even rarer stuff. The immortal masters won't have to worry about that, Li Yao added apologetically. Immortal Lord Jingyu nodded calmly, then latched onto a key phrase, immortal-level alchemy furnaces. He took a closer look, and his jaw dropped. All the furnaces were immortal level, 1,000 of them. The lower-ranking alchemists behind him were quickly catching on. They swarmed the furnaces, touching them with awestruck expressions. The item tiers in the wild immortal world, from lowest to highest, were typically, ordinary, spiritual, mysterious, king, holy, immortal, and emperor. Holy smokes, it's an immortal level furnace. I'm still using a measly mysterious level 1. This is the first time I've ever seen one of these. No way, is this for real? An immortal alchemy furnace. I once spent a fortune on a king-level furnace. Never thought I'd ever lay eyes on an immortal level 1. At an auction, I saw a broken immortal level furnace sell for a king's ransom. And here are 1,000 of them, intact. Unbelievable. Look at the intricate Dao patterns. It's humming with mysterious power and Dao charm. Definitely immortal level. My old sect only had one holy level furnace, and only the leader and head elder were allowed to use it. Jackpot. I'll spend the rest of my life refining medicine in Kunlun Holy Land. I'll work myself to the bone, I don't care. Me too. This is too good to be true. I can actually use an immortal furnace someday. Mom. Your son's made it. I'm gonna work my tail off in Kunlun Holy Land. And tell her to make sure that tofu is sweet, that even these talented and well-respected alchemists couldn't contain their excitement at the sight of 1,000 immortal level furnaces. After all, for an alchemist, the furnace and flame were everything. A good furnace and flame could dramatically increase the chance of success. I guess the Divine Pill Holy Land is even better equipped, right? Li Yao said, seeing that Jingyu Xianjun and the others weren't reacting. He thought they were underwhelmed. Huh. Oh, not bad. Pretty much the same as what we have at the Divine Pill Holy Land. Immortal Jingyu chuckled awkwardly, scratching his nose. The other three stayed silent. Sure, their Divine Alchemy Holy Land had plenty of furnaces. But most of them were spirit, mysterious, or king level. Those were for the disciples. The higher level, holy level furnaces were much rarer, and disciples had to pay to use them. As for immortal level furnaces, they only had about 500 of them. They were hard to come by, and each one cost a fortune. Plus, not many people were qualified to use an immortal furnace, and the big shots had their own private collections. So, yeah, about 500 left for general use. They never expected Kunlun Holy Land, without a single immortal alchemy master, to have 1,000 immortal level furnaces. Was this some kind of joke? Were these growing on trees? Immortal Lord Huangxian and the others were too embarrassed to dig any deeper, and they were struggling to hide their shock. Xiaoye shot them a strange look. Were they acting a little guilty? Was it just her imagination? Years ago, she had visited the alchemy pavilion in the Holy Land of Divine Pill. She remembered there were about 500 immortal level furnaces, far fewer than in Kunlun Holy Land. Maybe the Divine Pill Holy Land had upgraded since then. Yeah, that was probably it. Speaking of which, this place is amazing. If you refine elixirs here, you'll feel calm and focused, which'll make you less likely to screw up. It can increase the odds of a successful batch. Jingyu Immortal Lord continued to heap on the praise. The entire alchemy pavilion must be covered in complex Dao patterns and formations designed to suit the mind and help the alchemist handle any situation with a clear head. Their Divine Pill Holy Land did the same thing, but not on this level. Only thing missing is more ingredients, Immortal Emperor Huangxian added. Just then, a strange voice echoed from behind them. For ingredients, just swing by the spiritual planting garden. You won't be disappointed. The voice was so unexpected, so out of the blue, that everyone jumped. It sounded like it had materialized from thin air. Startled, they whipped around to see who it was. A tall, unremarkable middle-aged man in a gray robe stood in the doorway. Even the four powerful immortal lords felt a shiver of alarm. With their cultivation levels, they should have sensed someone approaching. But just now, there had been no warning. What was going on? Could it be? The four stared at the stranger, a terrifying thought taking root in their minds. Chapter 70 The Legendary Technique, Alchemy in the Void. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiaoye and Li Yao were stumped by the strange middle-aged man. Who was this guy? Li Yao especially had never seen him before in the Kunlun Holy Land. Excuse me, who are you? Li Yao ventured. Ling Dan said flatly, I'm Ling Dan, appointed by the sect leader to run the medicine refining pavilion. I'm in charge here now. That cleared things up for Li Yao. If the sect leader put him in charge, that was good enough. He'd been worried about being responsible himself. What did a little guy like him know about running things with these bigwigs? Having a dedicated master of the alchemy pavilion around was the best thing that could happen. Ling Dan sized up the 4 immortal lords, then nodded. You guys haven't made much progress over the years, but your skills are passable. You'll do as my assistants. Huangxian Immortal Lord and the others were furious at his dismissive tone. As 2 7th level and 2 8th level alchemy refining immortal masters, they were practically royalty wherever they went. Ling Dan might be a higher rank, but what about his actual skills in refining medicine? Who was he to talk to them like that? Immortal Lord Yanlei, the most powerful of the group, scowled at Ling Dan. That's a pretty bold statement coming from you, don't you think? He said icily. Even if you were personally appointed by the sect leader, you'll have to prove you can back it up before you can order us around. Immortal Flame Thunder unleashed his terrifying Immortal Lord aura. It wasn't excessive, but the pressure was enough to nearly crush everyone there. This was a strength that set them apart from countless creatures in the desolate immortal world. But Ling Dan remained unfazed. He stepped forward, and the aura of a peak Immortal King emanated from his body, seeming to suppress the entire sky. Boom! Just a wisp of that power sent Flame Thunder Immortal Lord staggering back. And Ling Dan wasn't even trying. What strength! An Immortal King. He's definitely an Immortal King. Immortal Lord Yanlei's face changed instantly. He knew his own strength, and to be forced back by a mere fraction of someone else's power. That meant the other guy was a powerful Immortal King. A really powerful Immortal King. The other 3, Immortal Lord Huangxian, were also shocked. They were all weaker than Immortal Lord Yanlei. Just how strong was Ling Dan? The remaining 3,000 people were stunned. Immortal Lord Yanlei had been defeated with a single glance. This guy was on a whole other level. The Kunlun Holy Land ran deep, hiding its true strength beneath the surface. There were hidden masters everywhere. No wonder their sect leader dared to cause trouble in the Holy Land. Wait, no, their sect leader now. They belonged to the Kunlun Holy Land. Seeing the shocked and angry looks on their faces, Ling Dan knew they weren't convinced yet. To help Ye Chen manage the alchemy pavilion, he knew he had to show his stuff. Watch closely, I'll only do this once. Ling Dan held out his right palm, and a ball of flame materialized out of thin air, drawing in the rich spiritual energy from the world around them. As the flame and the energy grew, a round pill began to form, and the air filled with its fragrant aroma. The crowd was awestruck by this magical alchemy method. Alchemy from nothing? You can really make a pill out of just flames and spiritual energy, without any materials? I thought that was just a myth. Is this real? He's not using anything at all. Using the world as his furnace, spiritual energy as his ingredients, guided by the rules of heaven and earth, creating elixirs out of thin air. Incredible, this was unbelievable. Everyone knew you needed materials to make medicine. A great flame and a fancy furnace were useless without anything to cook. You can't make bricks without straw. But there was a legend. It said that a master alchemist could make elixirs out of thin air. A mystical, indescribable feat that it seemed so impossible that most people dismissed it as a fairy tale, but here they were, witnessing the legendary void pill. Could this really be happening? They looked at Ling Dan with awe, as if he was an insurmountable mountain. The 4 immortal lords, Jingyu, were the most stunned of all. A void pill? We have several 9th-grade alchemy masters in the Divine Pill Holy Land. They've tried this, but they've never succeeded. Could he be beyond the level of a 9th-grade alchemy immortal master? Has he reached some unheard-of transcendental state? Who is he? Ling Dan. I've never heard of him. They were speechless. Only someone at their level could truly understand how amazing Ling Dan was. Finally, Ling Dan finished a round pill and presented it for inspection. The recipient carefully held the pill and scrutinized it, looking for some fundamental truth. That was all it took to convince Immortal Jingyu and the others. Your subordinate greets Master Ling Dan. Your subordinate greets Master Ling Dan. As the 4 bowed, everyone followed suit, the sound echoing throughout the area. even after they left the medicine refining pavilion, they were still in shock. Ling Dan's method was burned into their minds. With an expert like this in charge, their future was secure. Everyone would become a master alchemist. A word of guidance from Ling Dan would be invaluable. The four, Immortal Jingyu, exchanged glances outside the door, seeing the helplessness, shock, and loss in each other's eyes. Next to Ling Dan, they looked useless. Where did the Kunlun sect leader find such an expert? Incredible. Kunlun Holy Land was not to be underestimated. They felt a little lucky and proud. Good thing Ye Chen captured them. If he'd captured someone else, they'd have never seen someone who could really make elixirs from nothing, right? Staying in the Kunlun Holy Land might be better than staying in the Divine Pill Holy Land. All in all, not a bad thing. Seniors, now that you've seen the medicine refining pavilion, let's head to the spiritual planting garden. We don't have many types of spiritual medicine planted yet, but the quality is top-notch. Li Yao continued his role as a guide, leading them towards the Lingji garden.